Hello guys, this is Andy from MOONCAKE Visuals, and in today's video we're gonna learn about how to convert this cool scene provided by Epic Games to Aximmetry. I mean, how to use it with Aximmetry. This scene it's available for free, at the Epic Marketplace. It's a really cool scene. I have learned a lot about it. Because they have really cool techniques on animation, and broadcast graphics, and the way they put these screens together is really amazing. But yeah, no more than say, let's start. All right. So the first thing, I just open it with Unreal Engine 4 Aximmetry. I just converted in place. I just open it with it, and it opened without issue. But I went to edit plugins and type web remote. And I just disabled these two plugins, and that's it. So that's all I did. Okay, cool. Now, what we're going to do, this is the high peak chamber controller, right? This is basically the main controller of the scene, as you can see here in the detail panel, right? If I hit play, you can see that. Let me click it back, and it had this. It had these buttons. So, for example, I can play the graphics. When it's low on my PC, sorry for that. So I can pause it, I can play, I can reset it. But yes, what we're going to do, we're going to connect all these events to Aximmetry. Okay. So basically, yeah, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to open our level blueprint by going to blueprints and open level blueprint, right? This is what we get. Basically, it's like a pre-made, it's a pre-made blueprinting. We're going to leave it like that. We're going to move our event play to be back. The begin play, double click on that and then reroute, and let's take our camera controller, right? Let's drag into our level blueprint. What we're going to do is we're going to call these events like the play graphic, reset graphic, and pause graphic. Basically, those are just functions created in Unreal Engine. So for example, if I click here and edit, right? And let me look for Control F to look for play graphic. You can see I got this function, right? It's an F, so for function it's this one. Basically, if you want to be able to watch, to see this button so you can test it, you can just click on the function, and here where it says call in editor in the details panel, when you tick it, you will get a button here where you'll be able to test your function. Alright, so I got played and pause. I'm going to use only those two. So from here, from my controller and my level blueprint, I'm going to drag and type play graphic. Cool. And from here, I'm going to tap pause graphic. So I got these two functions. Now on those functions, I want to be able to trigger those functions from Aximmetry. Well, normally we would go Aximmetry, another camera, virtual or track, whatever. In this case, this is basically like a full broadcast template. There will be any talent. So we're not gonna use any virtual camera or track camera because this project relies totally on sequence animation. So it just triggers sequences. So what we're going to do, we're gonna take that output from Unreal and take it directly to Aximmetry, and that's it. So there's no need for virtual camera or stuff like that. Okay, so now let's go back here, and remember in Aximmetry we right click on this, bind event to trigger. We get nothing, so we can just click here in context sensitive, and now we get this Aximmetry bind event to trigger. There we go. So now from here, I'm gonna plug this here, the event plate here, and this here. That's why we created a reroute, so we don't have to move all the way here. So let's move this a bit back. So now let's let's drag from target, right? Get Aximmetry. Let's mark context sensitive now because this is just to get things relative, to the thing that we're outputting. So for example, this one, an Aximmetry trigger, as you can see here, this is for an Aximmetry trigger object reference. So if I click and drag here and then start typing, it will give me just something that will be compatible with this. This is context sensitive for. So this is what we get. So we're gonna create a play graphic, right? This will be the name of the trigger. And from here, from event, we're gonna drag and we're gonna create a custom event name play graphic or whatever name. Just don't get to avoid confusion, avoid repeating name. So in this case, play from Axi. This is the name I'm gonna put. You can put whatever, but just to avoid to repeat, same names. So play from Axi, what we'll do is I'm gonna click here and I'm going to connect to this play graphic. So now I got this play graphic set. Time to set the pause graphic. So I'm gonna duplicate this by right click, duplicate. I'm gonna plug this here. And this event here, remember, not from here, is here because at the beginning of the, when begin play start, we're not triggering the play graphic. We're just telling that whenever we click the play graphic button in Aximmetry, we'll trigger this event. This is a binding. We're not performing the event. We're just telling, this is what we call binding event. So basically, for this, we do the same. We're gonna duplicate this and let's name it pause graphics. Okay. Now let's click connect this here and the same custom event pause from Axi. So this one I'm gonna plug this here. So it's telling that whenever we click pause graphic from Aximmetry, we're gonna pause the graphic. We're gonna tell to the hypercamera to pause the graphic. Now let's compile and hit save. Now okay, now you know that to take the project from Aximmetry, we normally cook the content and we go to Aximmetry. No, Aximmetry have a cool function which is called live sync that will allow us to test our event without the cooking process. It will take the output directly from a reel. It will be a lower resolution because the resolution will be based on the one that we have in the viewport. It means the square in the viewport, but we're gonna use that mode. Alright, so now let's save and let's open Aximmetry. In the meantime, let me open Aximmetry. I got my composer here. Let's go to our project folder. This is the project folder in my case. I'm gonna create a new compound first. I'm sorry. There we go. Now I'm gonna drag this here. And it says cook data could not be loaded. So because if we click here and go here where it says connection, it says cook. It means that it will be asking for the cook version. I mean, when we click cook for Windows. For now, we're not doing that because we're working in our events. So let's click on that and we'll go to live sync. And now let's go back to our Unreal Engine and hit play. When we go back to Aximmetry, now we get this. So as you can see, our event, our thing got updated. So we got our play graphic and pause graphic. I'm gonna take this out and plug it here directly, and you see we got our event. And this is cool. I mean, yes. I can now click here and I can play my graphic. You see it? I can pause it, I can play, I can pause it, I can play, I can pause it. And basically it's working. Now it's kind of tricky to go here and then click here to play pause. So let's create a control board where we will have all our triggers. To do so, we will right click here, new special compound and control board. Let's name it trigger. Cool. Now here at the top you see that we now get our window for trigger. Now let's create, right click, new special compound, pin collector, and let's name it triggers or whatever. I don't know, main control. You can set whatever name you want. Now I'm gonna right click on this, add to control board trigger. So now we got this main control. Now I can from this pin play graphic. In this case it's a pin color. It means that it's a trigger, so it's a button. I can drag to here to my pin collector to add another one. So I can click OK and saying here, and I can click OK. Now if we go back to our trigger, nothing happens. Why? Because we need to rename it. I mean, I'm going to remove it just to do it the quick way. So when we click and drag here, and we need to click this button and hit OK, and now here, and click OK. And now we get bottom, so we get these two bottom where we can control it. So it's cool. All right, so now we can also, use the, let me just in case, just to remove it, just to show you something new. So from play, I'm gonna drag here. Instead of using this name, we have some keywords here like play, okay? And here, I'm gonna use pause, okay? And if I go to my control, I got these, play and pause button. It's cool. I mean, I like it. I mean, it's fun, that thing. So now let's go back to our real engine. And let's take our things a bit further. So, oh my God, it processes. Okay, there we go. It's back. Thank you, Unreal. And okay, let's go back to our camber. Here we have some values. Sorry, we have some values, as you can see. If we hit play, right, and click in our camber. Okay, let's wait for it. Come on. So clicking our camber. So I'm gonna click here in where it says team asset select, and you see that I can change. I can switch the teams, and also I can change the mode, which means, so for example, player name. This is basically the graphic that I will be showing here. So we're gonna connect this to Aximmetry as well. So let's do it with the mode select and with the teams. All right, so now we got this cool spider. So we can just select all and right click and collapse nodes. So we can just, as you can see it, just like hide it and collapse it. So I'm gonna name it basic triggers. All right. And now we want, let's drag our camera again. Yes, I forgot to leave it outside, but okay, it's okay. So you can just access it by double click on that, and you can see it's there. So let's go back to our event graph. And now we need to set this, the team A and team B, and okay. So for example, from our controller, right, I'm gonna set team A. So as you can see, set team A. This is basically a variable, which is an enum, which is basically a drop down with values predefined on this. So for example, if I go here to my content, right, in the export thing, let's go to export sample. Where is it? Blueprints. Oh no, it's not blueprints. All right, let's type in our content enum. You see it? So we got here some enums. Let's look for a team. These are the teams that are defined. So we, as said here in the documentation, we can add our own teams from it, but we don't get into that topic. You read this and you will learn how to do this. So basically, we want the index. I mean, this team, this select has a position index. So for example, URL 0, 1, 2, 3, so we need to get an index of it. So to do this, we're gonna do it from the tick event. We're gonna be careful with this, but we're gonna do it from it. Tick event is an event that is always running. I mean, it will, as soon as we made a change in Aximmetry, it will be performed automatically. So let's get, in this case, right click here, get Aximmetry. Let's use an integer. And the name of this will be team A. Team A, right? And this integer, we need to convert it to byte so it can be read by this. So click and drag, byte, byte, and there we go. And this we can drag here. There you go. Now we can also, let's just duplicate and do the things quickly. So let's duplicate, right click on this, deselected, duplicate, and this one will be team V. And let me delete this. And I'm gonna set team V. Oh, sorry. Team B, where is it? Set team B select, as you can see, the green one, because it's an enum. I'm gonna click and drag from here, and there you go. So in the event tick, right, I'm gonna click and drag here, click and drag here, and let me compile and save. Okay, let's also add let me duplicate these two, mode select. This is to select, the mode of the animation that we're going to play. So let's drag from here and type mode select. There you go. Let's click and drag from here to here. This is basically another conversion, as you can see, is from Vide to enum selected, as you can read here. So you can just over in any outputs, and you can see what is this about. So Real Engine is pretty self-explanatory, but okay, I'm gonna connect this here, and this is basically our blueprint. So we're gonna set the team A, team B, and the mode select based on the Aximmetry integer. So I'm gonna compile and save. Now if I hit play, right, let's go back to Aximmetry. As you can see, when you hit play, you got this red icon, which means, hey, you made a change in our Real Engine. Click here to refresh. Refreshed. Cool. Now I got team A, team B, and mode select. So I'm gonna drag team A here, team A. I'm gonna drag team B here, team B, and I'm gonna drag mode select, mode select. Now if I go to my trigger and click here in the main control, I got team A, team B, and mode select. If I switch team B to 1, for example, hit enter, you see now I got the team B to 2. You see it? Now mode select 1, okay, 2, as you can see it, 3, and there we go. So basically, this is how you can set the data. So for example, in the mode tree, you got this player name variable. If we go back to our Real Engine, it says player name. Here we got a variable, just player name. So we can basically do the same from Aximmetry. Let's get Aximmetry text, right? Let's call it player name, and let's set player name. There you go. Let me connect this here, and this is actually a text, but it can be converted to a string. So there will be a middle function. This small note is a conversion function that converts from one type to another one. So this will convert from text to string. So let me compile and then hit save. Now if we hit play and we go back to Aximmetry, we see our red chain again. Click on it, and now we get player name. Drag from here to here and player name. If we go back to trigger, they are not visible here. Actually, we need to click on that to see the things here. So in player name, there's nothing, as you can see, because this is empty. So I'm gonna set this to MOONCAKE. As you can see it, that's MOONCAKE. So I can change the text and it will work. So you can see it. All right, and one last tip. This is basically an enum. As I said, let me go back to Unreal. This is basically an enum, which means it's like a select box. I can go from URL and select based on the name. We can actually do that in Aximmetry as well. So, for example, I got this is the enum. I went to content and type enum, and I went to teams, teams. So basically, I got the list of the teams. So what I can do now in Aximmetry is this. For example, I'm gonna go and take my team A, right? And I'm gonna rename, and I'm gonna type this cool expression, which will be this money sign enum with the capital E. This will be a comma. And I'm gonna type team A, which is basically the title. The first option is the title. Now, I'm gonna comma, and I'm gonna go back to Unreal Engine, to my team, and I'm gonna copy this, paste URL, copy, comma, paste, copy, comma, paste, copy, comma, paste, copy. Remember, you need to separate by comma. and let me just select all because the teams are the same for the both team A, team B. It's just a selector. I'm gonna copy and hit OK. Now, if I go here in team B, right click, rename, and I'm gonna paste it here in the A. I'm gonna change it for a B. And if I click OK, now we got this. If we go back here to our main control, we got team A and team B, but as a select. So if we go back to Unreal Engine and hit play, and let's just set this to, I don't know, the mode select to 0. It's the same with the mode. We can do the same for this, but for now the team A I'm gonna set it to SGA, and the team B I'm gonna set to HPM. I'm sorry. And if I hit play, you see I got everything working as expected. So guys, this is basically all in this tutorial, and I hope you like it, guys. If you like whatever I do here, please support me on Patreon, and also the link will be in the description. In my Patreon page, I just uploaded some, the project file for this. Actually, the set is free for download in the Epic Game Marketplace, but the Aximmetry blueprinting, you can download it and just check it out, guys. So see you in the next video.